This is Rohingya Vision News. Today is Wednesday, 5th March 2014. I'm Sarah Ahmed. Myanmar human rights reporter post-slated for Yang Hee Lee as UN invites peacekeepers. While the UN is now inviting Burma to contribute peacekeepers to its mission, as Inner City Press reported 5 days ago, a change of the guard for the UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in Burma is about to take place. Nominated to replace Thomas Ojia Quintana by Baudelaire Andong Ella as President of the Human Rights Council is Ms. Yang Hee Lee of South Korea. If there is no objection by the close of the business in Geneva on March 7, she's got the post. But what about the issues? Even as Myanmar denies the rights of the Rohingya, Karen and Kachin and other people, the UN is inviting it to contribute troops to UN peacekeeping under her-led source. It was confirmed to Inner City Press on February 27. Earlier this month, Inner City Press asked the UN about the exclusion of Rohingya from upcoming UN-assisted census. On February 26, the Inner City Press asked, "I have been meaning to ask about Myanmar. There's a report that Rvision, when he was there, met with the Defense Services Commander-in-Chief, and the quote goes, said that Myanmar would contribute to United Nations peacekeeping operations if interested. He essentially either solicited or left the door open for Burma to contribute UN peacekeepers. Since many people remain concerned, including Mr. Thomas Ojia Quintana, about a lack of the rule of the law and some abuses by the army, and there is still a United States arms embargo on the country. Is it possible to know whether Mr. Nambiar said that, or maybe some variation on that, and what the United Nations position is on Burma contributing troops?" Spokesperson Martin Nisarke said that, "Well, troop contributing is a conversation that would be had with the Department of Peacekeeping meeting unless we are in mind. Then Mr. Nambiar on his trip had any number of troops with different officials." 24 hours later, Nisarke and DPKO had provided no answer. So even limited to a mere 2 questions, "No Sri Lanka" by Nisarke, Inner City Press on February 27 asked again about Myanmar, along with asking again if Nambiar invited Myanmar peacekeepers. Inner City Press asked about the president. Later on February 27, Nisarke's office sent this to Inner City Press that during his recent meeting with the Commander-in-Chief of Myanmar's Defense Services, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, the question of the Myanmar's cooperation with the UN on peacekeeping was discussed. The special advisor explained that, like any member state, Myanmar was invited to discuss its interests in specific terms with the Department of Peacekeeping Operations, which would consider such a request in accordance with its regular parameters. Under ban and led source, UN peacekeeping has been advised by controversial Sri Lanka military figure Shavendra Silva. Led source has accepted a child soldier recruiter and user into his mission in Malay, Myanmar, maybe the next. UN spokesperson Farhan Haq asked another question that there is a census coming up. It seems that the United Nations system is involved in funding and maybe practicing in it. Both Kachin and Rohingya groups have expressed a lot of concerns that there is no box in the census thus far to check Rohingya meaning, implying that there are no citizens. Also Kachin, they have other complaints. I wanted to know is UN aware of these? What steps are taking, and will they fund a census that many groups think makes things worse rather than better? Acting Deputy Spokesperson Hug, "Well, we will look into what we are doing on that question. We need some details about that." It was 19 days later, on February 12, that the UN spokesperson office finally sent this response that the UN Population Fund UNFPA is the focal UN agency for providing technical and programmatic assistance to the government for the census. It says that everyone in Burma will be counted in the census. UNFPA is supporting the government to ensure that the census is fully inclusive and conducted according to international standards. Respondents will be asked to identify their ethnicity with the option of selecting one of the categories used in the 1983 census or selecting other and writing in the name of another group. All of the responses will be coded and tabulated. Compare this belated Pollyanna answer by the UN and UNFPA to what the Burma Government Ministry for Immigration and Population, UKIMYI, openly says, that they say their race is Rohingya. When a person says that his race is B because he doesn't want to mention his race is A, that means that race A no longer exists. But the race B is a new race. Since race B is a new race, there will be questions such as how did the race enter the country, or are they encouraging here? When things become radical, I worry that it would harm peace and stability. We will record what the person says. If he says A, then he will fill the form as A. The result will be, like I said before, not even if that term A is Rohingya. We will not recognize Rohingya as one of the 135 ethnic groups in Myanmar. So this is fully inclusive and conducted according to the international standards. The UN is best in denial. It appears that on-again, off-again UN official Charles Pitre is about to set sail from Myanmar. He was quoted earlier this year that, in terms of MPSI, we want to make ensure whatever we do adds value. So there is a clear sense that if there isn't, we won't, by Matthew Russell Lee.